Hello everyone. We are happy to welcome you again from MacroLab IT company. Today we'll show you a new example of an automation tool, especially an easy way to make reports in a given format based on employees' attendance, check-ins and check-outs. That is to make a timesheet. The database has the following structure. It is generated from another application and we are required to develop database quickly and get necessary reports. Here we see conditional information in order to show you the work process. Let's open the automated file so we see the functionality thoroughly. As you see, the file contains 4 sheets. The first main sheet includes a control panel consisting of some fields and buttons which assure the process of making reports. Before running these functions, let's have a short look at other sheets. In the sheet named List 1, we keep the list of employees. Here we fill an employee's ID number, position, name and social card number. Next column is designed for choosing the working schedule of an employee. It may be normalized or not normalized. We can choose yes or no options here. Yes for employees with normalized working graphic and no for not normalized. For this video we have included employees with both normalized and not normalized working schedules. For employees working with not normalized schedule, we have added next column which will show which day of the week the employee doesn't work. For example, if we pick 7 at this field, it means that this employee doesn't work at the 7th day of the week, that is on Sunday. Anyway, this column is not required to be filled. And it is also worth to note that we can fill more than one day. For example, we can mark several days, which will mean that the 2nd, 4th and 6th days are non-working for this employee. In the next column, we fill working hours per day. We have filled 8, it means 8 hours is deemed to be one full working day. The next penultimate column is designed for the following. If there are some employees for which check-ins are available only, and this is enough to deem as a full working day attendance, then we state OK here. For these employees, only check-in time is enough for starting the count, and as a check-out time we fix an hour mentioned in this field. This type of flexible tools help us to make reports more easily. And the last column is designed for checking the status of an employee. If an employee is disenrolled but we want to keep his or her information in database, then we state no at the status and the employee's details will be missing from the reports. Later we can remove no note from the status and the employee will get active and his or her details will be exported in reports again accordingly. At the sheet named List 2 we include supplementary information. At the first table we fill no working days, mourning, remembrance days or holidays. This is a free format table and we can enter any date. The second table is designed for employees who are on business trips. If an employee is on a business trip and we want those days to be considered as working days, then we state here the ID number of an employee, his name is generated automatically, then we fill the start date and end date of the trip. Thus, these days will be considered as working days in report, and as a start time and end time of a working day will be considered figures stated in these cells. In our case, it is from 9 AM to 7 PM. The last sheet is designed for additional check, and we'll come back to this sheet a bit later. Let's revert to the main sheet and meet the main functionality. The first tool we want to see is Generate Schedule, clicking on which we will get a report for non-normalized time graphic employees. By the way, a report is exported according to the chosen year and month. Let's click on Generate Schedule button. We see that a report for non-normalized employees is generated for the chosen month and it also counts non-working days per each employee. As we remember, at the sheet list 1 we have filled in non-working days for non-normalized employees, and the report was made based on these details. If we try to click again on Generate Schedule button from the main sheet, then the program will warn us that a report for that period is already exported. If we want to generate a new report for the same period, we should delete the previous one and then try again. If we want to have the same report but for another month, we are picking respective month and again click on Generate Schedule button. Required report will be exported accordingly. Would like to note that each sheet receives a respective name based on the chosen period, the year and month. So let's delete this sheet. The program is asking to approve our decision, and by clicking yes, this report will be deleted. Now let's see the other buttons of Mainsheet. The first button is designed to import database and making reports by hours by developing just that database. This report is also exported according to chosen year and month. Let's see an example of the month of March. We pick the month and then click on the button and select the database from a paired window. After selecting and clicking OK, a generation of the report will start and take some time. Now we can see that the report has been generated and beside the sheet named Check got active. This sheet shows those employees who are included in database but are not available in our list 1 sheet. Thus, this sheet is designed to double-check the information in order not to miss any employee. Now let's look at the exported sheet named Table Time. Here we see the list of employees as well as data by days and by hours formed based on uploaded information. If both check-in and check-out times are available, they are both shown in the report. If only one entry is available and the other one is missing, then the cell of missing figure is colored in yellow. Additionally, borders of cells which respective employee was on a business trip for that period are also colored in blue and red for an easy identification. Blue and red borders mean the following. When a program finds any data in database in respect of an employee who is on a trip, then the report copies hours from the stated algorithm but marks the borders in red. This will happen when an employee during his trip period check-ins in the system. If there was no data, then the borders are marked in blue, prompting that there were no entries. As you can see, the database developed all this information very quickly and we got the requested results. If we want to make an amendment of a day or data, we can use a button at the top of this sheet. For example, we can remove some conditional entries here and click on this button. We will not see any action as we should select the day or days we want to change first. Let's take these 2 dates and push the button. Then we select the database and after a little time we see that information for those 2 days was updated. Would like to note that all these fields in this sheet are editable. We can change entries by hand. If we need to complete one or more cells, we can just fill in required data and see that yellow marks disappears. Our final summarized report is generated based on all this information. For exporting the final report, we should go to Mainsheet and click on Generate Table button. Here we may choose whether we want to include break time or not as requested. Let's click the button and see the final result. Here we see it on a separate sheet. The report shows worked hours by days and by each employee accordingly. Yellow marked cells show overtime working days. At the last column we see the subtotal of overtime hours. And at these columns we see total figures of worked days and hours. As you may notice, some borders are also marked in blue. These are days when appropriate employee was on a business trip. This is also designed for easy identification of those days. If we want to generate the same report again after editing some fields in database, we should click Generate Table button again from the main sheet. For this, let's make a conditional amendment. For example, fill this empty field and click Generate Table. The program will ask for an approval again in order to delete existing report and replace it with the new one. We see that the report was updated. We guess the general idea is understandable and how much useful automation can be done with Excel. This was just one small example. In the end, let's delete all exported reports and get our initial file. Thanks for your attention and follow us on social media. See you!